Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Dr. Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
Yes, it is. It's always good to be in your presence and always good to hear your voice.
Likewise, we used to be able to reach over and shake hands there on the set.
Yeah, eventually the Lord's going to fix that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We've got a great show lined up today. However, let's thank our sponsors. We've got a lot of them now.
Yeah, we got a lot of sponsors, and we're looking for other sponsors as well. Lee Cossell and Crawley, you need a lawyer, give them a call. Not only that, Fervent Care Christian Academy is there. If you want to get your child started in early child development, that is a good place to start them out. Marion County Public Health Department, who's doing an outstanding job right here in the epicenter of Indianapolis and surrounding Marion County and central Indiana as well. Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, give him a call. He can make sure you get dialed up, cleaned up, and straightened up at Al's Modern Clothing. Martin University, one of the historical universities in the city of Indianapolis, need an education. I would check with them first before I do anything else. His Place Eatery, a fine place to get an evening meal. Go by there today. Make sure you get an evening meal at His Place Eatery. And then you need your gutter work done. It's that time of year. Northside Window and Gutter Cleaning is ready to do whatever they can do to meet your needs.
Well, thank you, Dr. Moore. We thank God certainly for so many wonderful companies and people helping to sponsor the show and help us to help our community.
Yeah.
For those of you who are watching, you can also join us on YouTube. Go to WHMB TV 40 YouTube channel. You can watch this show again when it's over, as well as other shows that you might have missed. And
you can like us on Facebook.
We're there on Facebook.
We're there. We're there.
Yeah. I hope that you will do that.
Yeah.
And we've got wonderful guests getting ready to join us. One of our Black-owned and operated construction companies.
Yeah. And it's phenomenal to have them on with us today because, when you're out in the grassroots community like I am, and you hear, and I think you do too, Brother Jackson, that it's hard to find Afro-American construction companies that would be considered prime. And I think Met is considered prime. We'll find that out in the process, but happy to have them with us today.
And we'll be back with Met Construction after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. We're joined by Mario and Tanya Thomas. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to have you all, owner-operators of MET Construction. I want to get right into it. You all formed in 2018, as we understand it. Why did you start the business?
Well, for our part, I was working as a carpenter. I've got 38 years experience as a carpenter. Tanya was working in the IT industry as a project manager, and we pretty much worked ourselves out of another job. Okay. And it was a case of, do we want to keep doing this, or should we just go ahead and pool our resources and our skills and use them to the best of our advantage to create continuous growth and wealth for our families?
I think that's phenomenal to let other jobs lead you towards entrepreneurship based on the instability of those particular jobs and are the choices that you made to come away from those arenas. And then to start your own business is phenomenal. First of all, I want to commend you based on the fact there are not a lot of Afro-American construction companies that are doing sub and prime and sub. So you need to be commended there, and hope you can continue to grow it from a prime perspective, but always remember the meek beginnings of the sub arena as well. But we want you, I'm praying that you get to the prime, because we need that in our city and our state to a major level. That's what I'm suggesting.
Well,
As
I'd
well.
like to add on to what Mario said about us starting our company. Not only for us to have a legacy for our family, but we also started the company to give other African Americans the opportunity to work in the construction industry, to help develop individuals, as well as inspire people and help other people who are interested in breaking into the construction industry, kind of pave a way, provide them guidance and mentorship, as well as eventually develop training programs, partnering with the union to help young people in their career development and career paths.
Outstanding. And you all's company name, MET, as we understand, is an acronym, Making Economic Triumphs. What precipitated choosing that name for the company?
Actually, that was a plan of mine from long ago. I always thought to myself that when I go into business, not if, but when I go into business, I wanted to be a company with actual meaning behind the name, because many people, they tend to look at what's the meaning behind your company. And for us, it's not just making economic triumphs for ourselves, but for all people in the workforce who find it difficult. Okay, I'll say the non-silver spoon people, when you have to work your way up from your bootstraps. A lot of people retire without ever having anything real after many, many years of work. And what we want to do is show them that you don't have to keep working for someone else. You can make your own economic triumphs and be successful. And I could actually say that some of our employees have made economic triumphs from working for us, and, the leadership and the guidance that we've given them.
Starting a company such as this, if I'm interested in starting a construction business, how do I go about doing it?
Well, the first thing I would recommend, and this isn't just because I'm a union carpenter, but the first thing I would recommend is forming a relationship with the different trade unions. And the reason I say that is because you only get one chance to do it right. Okay, in the construction industry, if you don't do it right, it costs a whole lot of money to try to do it a second time. And the trade unions themselves specialize in training people for specific jobs. Electricians, they work on everything from residential to the power lines that supply power to the national grid. Plumbers, same thing, everything from residential to the plumbing lines for hospitals, major institutions like schools and theaters, places where you don't think about it when you go into the restroom, but you need water to wash your hands. Same thing with carpenters. We come out of the ground with different things, and we start with the foundation. We put the walls up. We put in the doors, all the related hardware. When you go in your kitchen and you open your cabinets, you don't think about how that cabinet got there, but a carpenter made that possible. So the building trades is something that you would never go away from. The problem that many startup companies have is that they don't choose the right labor force. They try to pick people up. Their cousin did a little home improvement, or they've got a friend who knows how to do this, or if they get a referral instead of going after trained professionals. I can tell you for a fact that the large, successful construction companies, even their supervisory personnel are former union employees out in the field. Not the administrative staff in the offices, but the people who are actually out there running the jobs. 9 times out of 10 on major construction projects, the project superintendent is a former carpenter or a current carpenter, just because of the amount of training. So if you're going to start a business, I would recommend, before you start with your construction company, form a relationship with the different trade unions that you plan on using to bid your jobs. If you're going to be an electrical contractor, form a relationship with the electrical union. If you're going to be a plumbing contractor, form a relationship with the plumbing union. If you're going to do general contracting like what we do, then form relationships with multiple unions like we have, because otherwise you won't get the right labor force and it'll end up costing you more money than you can afford to spend.
Okay, I think.
And for me, I formed a relationship with Mario.
Right. Okay, Brother Jackson, you want to add something on to that one?
I don't know what you could add on to that. I think it's a great marriage to bring everything together. And we have about a minute left in this segment. When we come back from break, we would certainly like to hear from you all. What's it like being an XBE in Marion County in the state of Indiana? And you all just finished up some work on the criminal justice system, providing crane support as well as some on-site services. We would love to hear how that worked out, how you were treated on the site coming on as a new company. Did you feel welcomed by some of the other folks? I see Tanya taking a breath there. So, because we want to make sure that our local government is held to account, and making sure that not only do our XBEs and others get the contracts, but they're welcome with open arms to get the job done. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices, and we are so happy to have MET Construction with us on today. Thank you all for taking out time to talk with us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Mario, Tanya, we're looking at some of the pictures, and our viewing audience will be able to see some of those on the screen and on social media. You guys were involved in the Criminal Justice Center project and the Indigo Red Line. You have some other things coming up. What has it been like to be involved in those kind of projects, and what kind of experiences have you had on the job site?
Tanya, I'll leave this one to you for now.
Well, I tell you what, coming from corporate America, it was definitely a learning experience. Being on the job site, for me, that was my first time being on a project of that size. For Mario, of course, he's been on many projects such as that. I would say that the experience was bittersweet. We had a lot of good days, a lot of bad days, a lot of learning. One of the things that I really appreciate is the support that we've received from the Carpenters Union. We were recognized for employing one of being the largest employer of women carpenters in the state of Indiana. So that was a pretty positive take. We had the opportunity to build a deck in front of the buck hoist that everyone can see. And with our 2 tower cranes and with the buck hoist elevator, the portalets and the dumpsters that we supplied for the leads, we had a lot of visibility on the job. So everyone pretty much was able to see that MET was out there on the job site. Do you want to add to that, Mario?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. Just so you guys know, LEED is actually a recycling program that a lot of companies are being required to follow now, where whatever they can recycle will be recycled, as far as materials. And that usually saves the company, the city, the project, and taxpayers a large amount of money overall. That was one of the other things that we were responsible for on the Criminal Justice Center project. Uh, as a carpenter, I worked about 36 years on my tools prior to, us starting our company. I've built all sorts of things like to me, this was a medium-sized project. It wasn't huge. I've done power plants, hospitals, water treatment facilities, sky rises, uh, complete malls, that sort of thing. So for me, it wasn't as magical as it was for Tanya. It was more a logistics thing for me, trying to make sure that all the parts fit together like they were supposed to within the scope of our work. But I can't say that we had a huge amount of difficulty or trouble. I mean, in the construction industry, there's always going to be those apples. I've been around long enough and worked with people who would actually roll up the blueprints and walk away when they found out I could read them as an African American, when I was working in the South. I didn't face any of that here, fortunately. And
Good.
that's been a long time ago. And the industry has moved forward. Our main goal right now is to get as many people, young African American people, male and female, involved in the building trades if we can, because this is our future. I mean, we're always going to need three things. We're going to need food, clothing, and shelter. Okay. And needing food, we're going to need a place to buy it and store it. Clothing is self-explanatory because we got to have a place to obtain it. We have a place to manufacture it, so forth and so on. And we're always going to need a place to get in out of the weather. So the building trades will never disappear. The problem is that a lot of young people today aren't aware of the need for the building trades in the future. And that's something that we've worked hard to try to express, in our community through various means and through our employees. We've added people to the laborers union and the carpenters union throughout the course of this project. And we hope to continue adding people to the different trade unions and possibly, as Tanya mentioned before, start up some sort of program where we can introduce them to the trades themselves and keep businesses growing, because we need more companies like ours. We do. We really need more companies like ours, because that's the only way you're going to level the playing field across the board.
Let me say this, Mario. I made a statement just the other day that I believe Indiana and many parts of the state is prime for the increase of trade. And the city of Indianapolis here in the next 4 or 5 years is going to be a prime spot for the development of trade. And I don't know if you see it that way, but that's the way I see it based on the projects that are on the board, projects the shovels have been turned over and are in process right now. And every young brother or sister is not a liberal arts student. And so, and we need to push the trade, because you can make up to $30 an hour working on as a trade. And I don't understand why we can't push that in any community. And many times when I'm arguing, and I mean arguing about participation, minority participation, I'm always pushing and asking for major companies to create apprenticeship programs as they move and through processes and jobs. It's one thing to depend on the unions, but it's another thing to create an apprenticeship program that will supply those trades as you go along. And it's just so hard for some who have been in the business to understand that and to really understand that. And because I don't know what it is, but it's just hard for them to understand that. You have a group out here between 18 to 35 years old or 18 to 24 years old that could really master that particular area of those trades if we create the right information and marketing tools to get them focused in those directions. But nobody wants to seem to do that. Nobody wants to seem to do that. And that's frightening to me. When you go to any state and first thing they'll tell you, they need people that have trades. And we're going to be having a shortage of trades and construction companies from a minority perspective when the 16 Tech begins to blow up, when the IU campus begins to blow up, when the convention center begins to blow up. When all of these things begin to blow up, we need to make sure that there are minority tradesmen and women on those jobs, and make sure that you're in on the bidding for some of those jobs to make sure that those minorities can get a place in the trades. That's what it's all about. And because here in Indiana, I don't know if you hear it, Mario, they always say, well, we can't find minority company. Do you hear that, Tanya? Do you hear that all the time?
Well, it's not so much that the minority companies cannot be found. Everyone's not so welcoming with opening the doors to the minority companies. And when the doors are open, everyone isn't so welcoming to minority companies that actually want to work and perform. There is some disparity out there.
Okay.
And there needs to be a little more governance around the minority companies, the new companies, the existing companies, the young companies like us that are trying to get a foothold in.
I understand.
Right, well.
I understand. I've been fighting. I know this.
Dr. Moore, we're gonna have to let that be the last
I'm gonna
word.
have to let that
We're
one-
out of time.
You got me moving around now.
We're out of
Yeah.
Mario
I
and
tried to
Tanya,
say it as best I could.
Mario and Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. All the
Thank you
best.
for having us.
We hope to have you back for another segment
Likewise.
soon.
Likewise.
Yeah, we're gonna have you
Likewise.
back. We want to know what you're doing.
Stay
Well,
with
We
I
hope
us.
to make a difference.
Yeah.
Just real quick, and I know we're out of time, but just to piggyback on what Dr. Wayne said, as a journeyman carpenter, you can travel anywhere you want in the United States, Canada, or any U.S. territory and work. My local is actually 243 out of Champaign, Illinois, but I'm able to work out of 301 here in Indy or any place else in the United States.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. We'll be back with the rundown after this. Well, Dr. Moore, that's going to wrap it up for this time. What a great show we had today.
We had a great show, man, a great opportunity for that particular construction company. And thank you for doing a great job, Brother Jackson.
Thank you. And likewise, we'll be watching them. I think they're going to do just great. Thank you all for being with us on this evening. We'll see you next time.